Hey guys, Nubkeks here, and welcome to another episode of Hero League, the road to Grandmaster, 8 Heroes of the Storm. In today's episode, we're going to be looking all at Kael'Thas, a very powerful burst mage in the game right now. I think he's actually in a pretty decent spot at the moment. There is a rework for him on the horizon. We know that Blizzard is tinkering away, but until that comes out, I'm going to be guiding you through what I think is the best Kael'Thas build and talking about all the nuances. The nuance? That's definitely not how you pronounce that word. The nuances, I can't say it now, it just sounds wrong no matter what. I'll talk to you all through the different ways that you can play it, and mixing up your Verdant Spheres, your trait, with empowering all of your different abilities when you want to use every single one, and where you want to place things, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, Kael'Thas, he's in an interesting spot, Kael'Thas. I haven't done a video on him properly in a while because we are kind of looking at a fairly Flamestrike focused build these days. This is kind of like the carryover from the last big Kael'Thas rework. I think that was in season 2, but Kael'Thas was my boy back then. He was banned all the time, but whenever he was not banned, I would pick him every single game and won nearly every single game with him as well. Things were great. There was 3 builds back then: Flamestrike build, a trait build, and then was it the bomb build, the living bombs build, with gravity laps. Basically, there was one talent that would give you empowered basic attacks whenever you used your trait. There was one talent that gave you vulnerability on your gravity laps. When you used that, it would apply just for Kael'Thas himself. You get bonus damage against heroes. So they removed both of those, totally. So both those builds are gone. The Flamestrike build that was around then still exists today, though, and that's kind of the main one at the moment. Interesting ban phase so far. Gul'dan and Sylvanas removed here. We are on Infernal Shrines, so shrine clear is quite important. I think both teams have got a pretty nice setup so far, actually. They first picked the Cassia and followed that up with the Oriel and Sonya. So Sonya, obviously going to be a great solo laner, good at doing mercs and all that sort of stuff, and she's fantastic on the shrines, whirlwinding through those and clearing them out while keeping herself healed up, and a good strong front line as well. Oriel and Cassia is a very powerful combo. The amount of AoE damage that Cassia can churn out can really empower the Oriel, and that sort of sustained healing, plus the Oriel wave clear as well, going to be very, very strong indeed. We have Kael'Thas and Vala though, which is pretty nice for us. Kael'Thas brings plenty of AoE damage and burst damage, good at clearing out the shrines and Infernal Shrines. Vala bringing great sustained damage and also AoE damage, so she's also pretty good at stealing stuff off the shrines and clearing those out with her multi-shot build, which you will presumably be going for here on this map. Then we grabbed a Lucio and an Arthas. I think this is a pretty nice combo as well. Arthas, kind of like the highest priority tank that's left over. He's got good physical armor, so should hopefully survive okay against the Cassia. Then Lucio to enable that Arthas a bit more, providing with that burst healing, with the sound barrier to keep him alive during the burst that the enemy team could throw out, and to kind of get him in and out with the movement speed as well. Also good to remove Lucio, prevent the Oriel Lucio double support combo. The enemy team already had enough damage as it was, so that would have been kind of scary. They didn't go for that though. We got the Lucio. Then we rounded out with a variant at the end to match up against the enemies Artanis and Chromie. Guys, I'll skip to the game and I'll talk to you more there. We'll see how this one will go. Alright guys, and here we are in the game. Very interesting draft this time around as well. We weren't too involved in it personally, seeing as we kind of first picked Mr. Kael'Thas right here. But very interesting stuff going on. Us picking up the Lucio to deny the Lucio double support combo with the Sonya and the Cassia on the enemy side of things. Then the enemy team picking up the Chromie to counterpick the Lucio, his lack of cleanse and lack of, well, strong single target healing, trying to exploit that. Us grabbing the variant for some lockdown. Then the one pick I don't get at all is the Artanis. I think that's a really bad pick. Artanis into Arthas? No. No. Anyway, we'll see how it works out. Definitely we have to be wary of the Artanis swaps. Kael'Thas has a really big hitbox. For some reason, he's wearing this massive ass cloak. I don't know why, but it makes him really big, and he's just asking for Stitch's hooks to grab it, and he's asking for Artanis things to grab it, and all these other skill shots. If he just wore some, if he went to Forever 21, bought some slim fit clothes. I don't know anything about clothes. I don't know if that cool kids wear Forever 21. I don't know. I don't wear any clothes. I'm a YouTuber. Don't need them. But yeah, here we are in the lane, kind of throwing down early on, trying to get as much damage as we can. So yeah, well, the thing about Kael'Thas is, he's got an interesting level 1 choice. Very interesting level 1 choice. I actually think all the talents at level 1 are good. My favorite one is Mana Addict, which I'm grabbing in this game, and considering the draft, we're basically forced into it, right? The most popular one is Convection. I think Convection can be okay. That's the one that gives you damage bonuses on your Flamestrike. And then after hitting 20 heroes, you get this like permanent extra bonus, and you can't lose that. But it's this really high risk, high reward quest. It makes your Flamestrike hit a lot harder, but at the cost of, well, if you die early on in the game and you don't finish the quest, it's like almost this dead talent that doesn't help you much at all. Considering that they do have Artanis, and especially considering that they do have Chromie, I just don't think it's viable to try to finish that quest. I'm just like, if I try that, I'm just gonna die. You can see we're getting a great start to this game. Nice charge in there by Varian to put that last little extra bit of damage onto the Artanis, ensure that the Oriel heal won't be enough, and we got ourselves a couple of free kills there, which is quite nice. But yeah, Convection, it's you know, it's pretty questionable. I would say yes, Convection, if you're under almost no threat as Kael'Thas. I'd say no to Convection if they've pretty much any damage that can dive you or that can poke away at you. In this case, they don't have a particularly huge amount of dive, but they do have the Chromie. So, I mean, like, it would just be the kind of thing where they hit level 8 and Chromie can just kill you with the Temporal Loop if she wants to. You don't want that. So, yeah, Mana Addict in this game as we move in here to the first fight on the Shrines. Mana Addict, in case you don't know, so it's a quest to collect regen globes. We get 15 bonus max mana every time we collect one, and after collecting 20, we can activate an arcane barrier. You can see it there on our bonus ability bar, but we're not able to use it yet. But that will give us, well, a big shield equal to 100% for max mana on a 45-second cooldown. So this will give us that sort of burst HP, that burst shielding to help us survive through the Chromie pick potential. So I think it's going to be pretty worthwhile here. We're kind of defending on our own. That's going to be okay. We're going to lure this thing over, popping the well in advance, because I know I'm going to take a lot of damage off this Punisher fella. And indeed we do. Level 4, I do grab Nether Wind. This increases the range of Gravity Lapse, which is our stun, by 30%, which is a huge deal. And we get 80 mana back if we hit a hero. So yeah, I like this double talent combo. So you get Mana Addict at level 1, it's giving you that protection, and it also gives you lots of mana to play with. And then you can go for the Gravity Lap, for the Netherwind, upgrade to Gravity Lapse. Because you've got plenty of mana to play with, you can kind of focus on spending your spells a little bit more aggressively. I just like it. You have a lot of mana issues if you go for the Convection build, I find. Mana Addict really keeps you in the game, and also you're kind of pressured a bit into taking Mana Tap. With Convection, unless you run out of mana all too often. So I like this one, Mana Addict into Netherwind, my personal favorite combo. And the big deal, the really big deal in this as well, is that 30% extra range on Gravity Lapse is actually a huge deal. It's a really big deal. You're a ranged damage dealer as Kael'Thas. You're very squishy, you're very vulnerable, you've got a big hitbox. The extra range on your stun can help you be much more effective at using that in team fights. Especially, let's say, when Varian charges in, we might not be in position to land a follow-up stun. It's pretty difficult. With the extra 30 range we get from Netherwind, that becomes a much more doable thing. Level 7 here, gonna grab Burned Flesh. If we hit 2 or more heroes, we do 8% of their max HP as bonus damage with our Flamestrike spell. So that's a pretty damn strong spell, and should be very effective here on this map in particular on Infernal Shrines. Also considering that they do have Sonya and Artanis, should work well against them, and Cassia's pretty short range as well, so we can definitely use that to our advantage. Now this is where things get bad. So we stun the Chromie, but we do die, right? We're kind of stuck there with the Temporal Loop. Like I said, they hit level 8. Chromie gets Temporal Loop, and if she wants, she can basically kill me, and there's nothing we can do about it. It's working out okay, actually, and working out pretty damn well here. We're getting a nice sort of return damage up on top, getting a nice push. Actually, looks like Arthas is dead, so not so nice. Yeah, not so nice in the end. And that's going to be this Shrine gone then. But we got some decent structural damage, I suppose. We are quite a bit down in terms of XP now, so I mean this Punisher's just almost certainly gone. I mean we could maybe have contested it before 10, but seeing that myself and Arthas died, that's not an option anymore. And yeah, you can see that's the power of the Chromie I was mentioning earlier. It's pretty scary. But as the game goes later, we'll have more tools to be able to fight against that. We will have our Arcane Barrier for Mana Addict and we'll be able to fight with that. With Kael'Thas as well, and with this talent build in particular, you very much open up the possibility of using your Verdant Spheres, your trait, to empower any of your abilities. So in case you don't know what this does, Verdant Spheres, it's this 6-second cooldown, and we can use this to make one of our basic abilities stronger. If you use it with Flamestrike, it makes the Flamestrike radius, I think it's 50% bigger. It's significantly larger. So that's obviously going to synergize very well with Burnt Flesh, because we want to be, if possible, hitting 2 heroes with that, and that will make it extremely powerful. You can empower your Living Bomb, your W, with it, which makes Living Bomb mana free, and also makes it have no cooldown. So normally Living Bomb is a 10-second cooldown. You can turn that kind of into a 6-second mana-free spammable ability if you spend your Verdant Spheres on it. Pretty useful for like a little bit of extra single target damage or some free wave clear, that sort of stuff. We're also going to be grabbing, just in advance, at level 13 we're going to be grabbing Pyromaniac, which is a level 13 talent that synergizes with Living Bomb, which means that every time it does its ticking dot damage, its damage over time, it reduces the cooldown of all of our other basic abilities, well, all of our basic abilities, excuse me, by 1 second, including Living Bomb itself. So we're going to be able to use that one to some effect. So you got some pretty cool single target damage with Kael'Thas, just throwing basic Flame Strikes down, then empowering the Living Bomb to do extra damage. And then just keeping that Flame Strike cooldown ticking down very, very quickly. You can output a lot of damage. You probably see me using that against some of the siege camps later in the game, especially once we hit level 13. Then finally, our Gravity Lapse. This is actually very powerful to empower. Normally this is a 1-second stun skill shot. When you empower it, it becomes a 1.5-second stun, so extra half a second, which actually matters more than you would think. And it also will stun the first 3 enemies that it hits. So this can be very effective, and with Netherwind improving the range on Gravity Lapse, this becomes much more usable. So really going into these team fights, we can choose to use pretty much anything we can. You can see right here, for example, we're using Flamestrike on cooldown, then we're empowering our Living Bomb for a bit of extra damage as well on cooldown, just for a sort of single target, mana efficient clear right there. Grab the regen globe as we go. We got 15 now, we still need another 5. Been a bit slow, I'd say, finishing this quest, but we've been losing the game so far, which is why that's coming in. I love that Lucio is just like, haha, I know you guys have AoE. I'm going to spread these out with my knockback so that it's really difficult for us to wave clear. Ha ha ha. The extra damage from knockback though, pretty good, right? Pretty good? Probably not. We're trying to fight here a talent tier down, but we do have a pretty decent position. On this point, we're going to throw the Phoenix in to try to do as much damage as we can. We do get temporal looped by Chromie, but she's under so much pressure she can't get us. Fortunately, Arthas under pressure as well, and he does go down. And yeah, like going into these team fights, it really does depend. In a team fight, you don't really want to empower the Living Bomb with this build. That's more for just efficient wave clear, cheap, and kind of like decent because it's cheap. In the team fights, what we want to be doing, we're looking for 2 big things. Number 1, which is going to happen probably less frequently. We're looking for someone who goes way out of position, and then we can empower our Gravity Lapse, try hit them with that, drop a Flame Strike under them. The empowered Gravity, like, I don't know how Chromie hit that. That was like, what? How? What? She did though. Chromie on fire right now. But yeah, if someone's out of position, we can hit them with that empowered stun with that Gravity Lapse. That's a very powerful thing to do. Hit them with a Gravity Lapse, throw a Flame Strike underneath them. They'll be stunned by the time it explodes, so guaranteed to hit the Flame Strike. Throw a Living Bomb on them as well. Even drop the Phoenix. That's some nice single target burst and pick potential. Okay, so right there, for example, doing it on the Sonya. Unfortunately, we didn't have Flame Strike available. Looks like she still will go down though, and indeed she does. Most of the time we're going to be empowering our Flame Strike just for maximum damage output. Right here, should have thrown the stun at the Oriel earlier. You can see she's just out of range because we didn't. So I was kind of kicking myself for that one. We've been losing the game, so I wasn't prepared, mentally prepared enough to go that aggressive. So we let her get away. She starts touchstoning in the base. We throw the Flame Strike over the wall, and she actually was looking at her talons or something, or typing. getting frustrated or tilted maybe that they lost that, and we get a free kill on the Oriole because she doesn't step out of the Flamestrike. Happy days, good for us. But yeah, it was one of those things. I should have stunned her earlier under that fort, but I mean, you just get caught in that mindset of like, oh, we've been losing the game so far, kind of just take the win, have to sidestep that. You know, just take the win and be glad for the win and just secure this Punisher for our team. You know, don't keep chasing, where in fact we could have actually kept chasing there. I didn't really talk about heroics. You got Pyroblast and Phoenix. I mean, Phoenix is just much better overall, and especially against an Oriole who's got the stasis thing. It's just better. I mean, Pyroblast is not terrible by any means, but Phoenix is just a little bit better. We're going to throw it over here just to zone the enemy team off that Punisher a little bit, get some extra damage out. Phoenix does a fair whack of damage over the course of its ability, so that's pretty nice for us. We're looking here, get the stun onto the Artanis, but it's a short stun, so it doesn't achieve too much. And as we're pushing in, you'll notice that I'm throwing like the living bombs onto the fort. I think it gives it a bigger explosion radius, so you can maybe spread some of those chain bombs around the place without the enemy team being too aware. Varian is in a tough spot. And throw out the stun to try cover him. It wasn't positioned too well though. But it looks like he should get out. Unfortunately, Arthas is going to fall. But still, we're level 16 now to the enemy team just about to hit level 15. So this is a nice tempo swing. We've gone around from losing the game with that last fight there over that shrine to now being in the lead. We're going to Hearthstone out here, get our mana back, and then go and finish our quest finally. It's been way too late, but that'll be a great tool to have moving forward. It's level 16, level 13 actually. I already mentioned Pyromaniac. I quite like a lot of the level 13 talents, but this one is my favorite overall. Just it gives you so much cooldown reduction on your Flamestrike, which synergizes with all of our other talents we're going to be taking really, and cooldown reduction on your stun as well, which is insanely strong. So I just think Pyromaniac is the best. Level 16 Fury the Sunwell. This will make our Flamestrike hit a second time. Vala's gone way too far for it. She's just dead. I mean, we kind of saw that coming for a little while there. Kind of panicking a bit as we're trying to help her out. But yeah, that is a very, very dead Vala, unfortunately. Able to do some decent damage to this, but I'm being very cautious. This is why I'm being so cautious. Like, very scared to actually keep pushing forwards here with the Kael'Thas. We're so vulnerable. Chromie almost kills us. We do get saved. I don't know. I triggered that by accident with the stupid right click. But yeah, very, very scary to keep pushing into that. Vala is our main source of consistent damage here. So we really need her to be there before we try to pick a fight. Even with Sonya not there, I think it is just a bit too risky. Cassia can do a surprising amount of damage, especially when there isn't that sort of, there isn't too much pressure on her. So definitely something to be scared of. But yeah, the Fury of the Sunwell, I think it's by far the best talent at 16. Double Flame Strikes, just, your Flame Strike does twice as much damage if they stand in it. That's pretty damn good. It also gives us double chances to proc our Burned Flesh talent, doing all that bonus max HP damage. That's great for zoning. It's going to be great in the shrines. It's really, really strong. We'll also synergize in advance with level 20. I don't remember if we get level 20 in this game or not. I don't remember. But Flamethrower is the talent of choice at level 20, which improves the cast range of Flamestrike by 40%, which is pretty useful in of itself. Makes you be able to dish that Flamestrike damage out from much further distance, and also works nicely with the extra range on Rip on our stuns as well. We can be this nice long range safe Kael'Thas. Feels good. Right here, we're going to try land the stun, I think. No, we didn't try land the stun. He stunned the Cassia, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to get Varian out of there. We're going to throw in the zoning, Flamestrike. It's just a little bit of damage, not too much. Artanis gone very far forwards, actually. He takes a lot of hits. But we need to be so careful here. I think this is going to be a bad idea, yeah. Looks like we are probably going to go down. We're able to stun the Sonya, but yeah, she's going to be able to chase us down. I'm very, very dead. Very, very dead, and we do go down. Got kind of baited in trying to help the Vala there. We should have been running away much sooner. No way that we can... Something's beeping like crazy in my house. I don't know what that is. No way we can actually contest that shrine with the healer being dead, so we're just asking for trouble, and trouble is what we received. As well, that Flamethrower talent level 20 also... Vala is full of regrets. Full of regrets. If we hit 2 heroes with our Flamestrike, reduces the cooldown by 4 seconds, which is a massive deal. We can just churn out loads of them. So yeah, that will also synergize really nicely with that. Lucio gets hit by Temporal Loop and does fire off a Sound Barrier this time, saving himself. Looks like Vala is going to escape because of that. Very generous enemy team. Not trying to chase her down. Thank you very much. Getting distracted by the Lucio. We'll take it. Now we got to try defend our keep, and we are behind once again in terms of XP, which is not too good for us. Get some nice damage down the Flamestrike. Oriel heals it up quite immediately, and I take a whole bunch of damage. Didn't even notice from that Punisher. Arcane Punishers are pretty scary things, and you can see we lost a lot of HP there. We're lucky Chromie wasn't there. If she was, we could have been actually punished pretty heavily for that. Enemy team racing towards level 20, taking out that top fort. We're going to try rotate up and take a fight. I mean, Arthas is behind though, and they know we're coming because of Chromie, so I don't know how well this can work. We can see we're lurking fairly far behind our team here as the Kael'Thas don't want to get caught out of position. We don't have our Arcane Barrier ready to protect us. Lucio's Sound Barrier not ready either, so a big fight will not work out too well for us. Varian goes in, he's almost dead already. We get the stun on Artanis. Artanis almost dead as well. Throw in a Flamestrike here, try to do what we can. Sonya is on the chase, we're going to be able to stun her up just for a little while. She has the Berserker though, so she only takes half of a stun, isn't it? She gets that stun reduction, so she's not stunned for very long and she makes it out. But we do walk away, Varian dies, but we get a kill. Vala actually picking up a kill as well. The cost of her own life, but that's more than worth it considering how far behind we are in terms of the game. Enemy team going to hit level 20 now, we still need to get there, so hey, we'll take dead Sonya over dead Vala anytime. We can just soak up while they don't have enough heroes to make a big play and start narrowing this gap, start working on some of these camps. Kael'Thas is actually pretty good at doing camps, especially with this build. Gonna be able to throw this stuff out. I actually kind of screwed up there. Should have used my trait with the Living Bomb, so we're slightly inefficient in terms of doing this. As you can see, camps go down very, very quickly. He's not as good as Jaina, but you invest less cooldowns. So I don't know. In some ways, he's just as good. He's good. He's decent at doing camps with some backup anyway. Certainly late game. Once you get that Fury of the Sun well, you can just tear through camps extremely quickly. So. Right, at this point, the Shrine is activating very, very shortly, and we do not have level 20, so that's kind of scary for us. There's no way for us as well to push down that bottom lane. The ever-present threat of Chromie Temporal Loop, right? Ever-present threat. So we're just going to group up with our team. You've noticed I've been taking a lot of safe paths in this game as well, trying not to take any could be unnecessary risks. This is actually pretty nice. They catch Cassia out of position. That's great for us. We throw out the stun, catch her in the longer stun, throw in some spells as well, and throw the Phoenix. We just drop everything down. You get Temporal Loop by Chromie, but she doesn't have the follow-up damage. Cassia healing up and surviving for a long time there. We throw out the stun at Sonya. What happened? I think she used her Q to go out there. Didn't quite catch it, but she was out. She dodged out. Either that or Lucio knocked her back, I see. I don't know. I think she probably speared out. Anyway, she does dodge the second stun, but we do take him down. That's 2 kills for us, level 20 for us, and that is a huge deal. Enemy team getting caught very much out of position, going for a greedy siege camp. Artanis wasn't quite there. He'd run up to the top lane first. He was out of position, so kind of leaving his team in a rough spot, and we actually win a fight that we really shouldn't have gotten and really shouldn't have won. So we're very, very happy with that. Artanis now up in top, back defending, as they wait for their heroes to respawn. They're going to lose bottom fort for sure, and we're looking to push down bottom keep as well if we can take it. The enemy team is actually way too far forwards. Chromie throwing the game. Thank you very much, Chromie. Oh, Oriel was there as well, dying. Yeah, look, it's just, that's a huge mistake. That should probably be game. Like, they've got 2 dead heroes. Artanis is defending top lane. There's no way they can defend. Like, that fort is dead. There's no way they can defend it. If they try to defend it, the only thing that's going to happen is they die, and that's exactly what occurred. You just have to give up certain things. This is a mistake I see quite a lot. People trying to defend things they can never defend, and they just get themselves killed. Cassia moves way too far forwards here as well, kind of knowing that the game at this stage with those extra deaths is pretty much over. Well, Vala does go down, but we hit her with the empowered stun, drop the Flamestrike under her, drop everything, and she does go down. I drop the Phoenix here as well. Sonya gonna spin, so we're gonna hit her with the Flamestrike. She's taunted. She is living a long time. We're gonna empower her stun, hit her with the stun, drop the Flamestrike, hit her with the W as well. She's gonna try chase us a little bit, and eventually even Sonya does fall. Oriel and Chromie only just respawning now, but we're on the core with the half-health Punisher. We even have siege camps pushing in the middle as well. They're not gonna matter too much. That is going to be game. Good thing too, because we just ran out of mana on Mr. Kael'Thas here. No mana left for us. And yeah, honestly, I've not been very good at the Flamestrike build, but I felt like this was a really good game And it's interesting, some of the decisions. I feel like that's quite a throw from the enemy team there at the end. If they just sat back and defended with their full team at the keep, they would have had that. Well, they wouldn't have had the game, but they would have been able, they wouldn't have lost the game right there and then, but they went to defend a fort that they had no business defending, and they just lost a whole bunch of heroes, and it's basically game over. From the second they think that's a good decision, it's basically game over at that point. We did get MVP for that game, which is quite nice. Thank you very much. And yeah, that is Flamestrike Kael'Thas. I think he's actually really good. The strength of Kael'Thas, you can see her damage, not as much as the Vala by any means. She did more damage. She was able to play a very aggressive Vala, get in there and really churn it out against that sort of double front line that wasn't pressuring her too much, just the lack of a main tank screwing the enemy team up, to be frank. That Artanis pick, not very good. But yeah, Kael'Thas is strong. The big drawing thing, the crowning feature of Kael'Thas really, is that he's a ranged assassin with a stun. 1 second stun by default, 1.5 second stun empowered. That's what makes him shine. So yeah, that's kind of what you're looking at when you're picking him. Good AoE damage, good zoning potential, and most importantly, he's got a stun, potentially an AoE stun. Not something that ranged assassins typically bring to the mix. Guys, give the video a thumbs up if you liked it. If you learned something, there should be the talent build on the left hand side, and then other stuff for you to check out on the right hand side. I look forward to seeing you again for more Heroes of the Storm. So until then, thanks for watching, and goodbye.